Our goal is to go from intention to behavior to habit to identity, because when we adopt something into our identity, we don't any longer have to use that energy, that willpower type energy, to make ourselves do that thing. It's already part of us. What's up, everyone? For those of you that don't know me, my name's Chris. I'm the CEO and founder of Hack That Habit. My entire goal is to help you achieve whatever habits you want, because for me, habits are the biggest unlock for us behaving the way we intend to and ultimately becoming who we want to be. That's the way, that's the vehicle that we use to get to where we want to go. And if I can help you on your journey becoming who you want to be in just a little way, I'm absurdly happy with that outcome. In the course, in my coaching, consider it a potential beautiful strategy for you becoming who you want to be. I don't think it's going to work for everyone in every state of life, but for some circumstances, for some people at some times, it will be very useful. Knowing how to go from intention to behavior to habit to identity is the biggest skill that I've learned, and that has helped me so much in becoming who I want to be. Now, our life changes as we go throughout life. Who we want to be changes. Who we are changes. Our outside circumstances change. The people we surround ourselves with, where we find ourselves, what country we live in, what job we have, all of these things are shifting. But if you can get very good at adapting who you are in any given context, then you're going to set yourself up in a much better position than you otherwise would, right? Imagine that ability, going from intention to identity. If you can do that, it doesn't really matter where you are, what circumstance you find yourself in. If you can gain that behavior into a habit, into an identity, you're doing well, okay? In whatever way that means to you. So that's what I want to help you do, is cultivate that process. Craft your own process for becoming who you want to be, okay? I know that those are all like these cliche words or whatever, like, oh, become who you want. But when we really get down to brass tacks, that's what we all are after. It's not just turning an intention into a behavior. That's good, but that's only one step. That's the beginning, not the end, okay? Behaving one way, relying on that willpower to get yourself there isn't the end of the road. That's the short-term Band-Aid solution strategy. I have been there. I've relied on it. It doesn't always work. That's okay. Because we can go past that. We can move to habit, this ongoing behavior that will happen regardless of if we want to or not, if we're cued in the right context to do so. If we've created that habit, that loop from cue, action, reinforcement, made that a strong situational interaction, then we're going to set ourselves up for success in terms of behavior. All right, that's how I define success, is being able to behave the way you intend to. But again, we don't want to stop at behavior. We want to grow that behavior into a habit. And then from there, there's still a couple missing pieces to make that become part of you, your identity, okay? All we really want to achieve is getting that burned down into our body, into our neural circuitry, so that it is in line with who we are, okay? We're starting with who we are. That's what really matters. Now, if you choose to work with me as a habit teammate, just because I'm on the journey with you, as much as I would love to say, hey, in the past 7 years, I've got the perfect strategy and I know how to help you gain exactly what habits, just follow this exact step by step. I would love to say that. But behaving the way you intend to and making a habit from that behavior is not easy, okay? It's simple on paper sometimes, but when it comes to putting it into action, I'm sure that's the biggest pain point you've experienced, is going from that intention into a real action. That is the hardest thing to do. But we can make it easier with some of these strategies. And again, it's not a cookie cutter, this is the blueprint that works for all, copy and paste. It's look at what has worked for me, why I think it has, breaking it down as much as I can, but ultimately picking and choosing what parts to implement for yourself. And you can for sure implement all, throw it all against the wall, but not everything's gonna work for you, okay? That's, I think, where most people break down, is because they try to copy and paste what works for someone else and it doesn't work with them, because we're all different. But we are similar enough where some of this stuff has carryover. And that's what I want to help you find. So if you are to work with me as a coach, habit teammate, we're going to start with identifying the who. We're working backward to the what. Okay, what from that who, what are all these different behaviors that make up that person? And then what's that specific first lead domino behavior that I can turn into a habit and bring into part of my identity that I can then use to be that person? And then move to the next behavior, habit, identity, and the next behavior, habit, identity. Okay, that's what we really want to do. just one behavior at a time, automating it and then making it become part of us. Okay, that's the simple process we're going to follow. Then we're going to really understand the mechanism of behavior change, the mechanism of habit change, the mechanism of identity change. Once we understand intellectually enough about habits, behavior, context in order to start pulling those levers, that's what we're going to start to do, is pull those levers. And we'll do that by planning out how we're going to help our context shape our behavior, what we're going to use for our cue to prompt that behavior, what the actual behavior itself is going to be. So if it was, hey, I want to start exercising regularly, that's your lead domino. Well, then how much is it? Where are you going to exercise? What types of clothes are you going to wear? All of these sort of things, these ingredients to your habit recipe. We're going to identify those, really narrow in on what will be best for you to ensure your success, plan it out. And it's not just writing out and thinking about it. It's writing it out and trying it, testing it, and then rewriting. It's planning, action, kind of these dry runs, these walkthroughs that help us understand what we're actually going to do, okay? And then once we've established a good plan, really simple habit loop, there's more to it, but a really simple habit loop, cue, action, reinforcement. Once we've established that, then we're gonna get a bunch of reps, a bunch of dry runs of just that transition. The pros do this, athletes, musicians. If you wanna beat an obstacle, repeat the obstacle, okay? So we'll get our dry runs, and then, and again, we're optimizing for action, but that's as fine point as it gets for high impact on the lever, right? Habits are the highest impact lever of behavior, in my opinion. And then from there, the habits themselves, it's that really fine transition point of the ending actions of the previous behavior and the beginning actions of the next behavior. So how do we really connect those, make that one domino to the next, instead of completing and then having to go from 0 to 1 again? We're really going to connect these two. It's almost like habit weaving, okay? I'm sure you've heard of habit stacking, same type of thing, except we're really going to interconnect them. Once we get that joint very secure, then we go at it like we would. But now what we have is all the ingredients of the cue, the action, the reinforcement. And then what we do is continue, make sure we get those reps, connecting that cue with that action, the reinforcement with that action, because what then happens is the cue and the action become one, reinforcement's no longer needed. All you need is that context or that cue, boom, and then you have the habit. Okay, so you do the behavior. You don't have to rely on your willpower. You don't have to rely on your intention. You don't have to rely on your motivation. None of that crap that is so fickle do we have to rely on anymore. And now we've got a very stable behavior. Granted, this is still limited by the context, but if you have a stable context, then you have a stable behavior or habit. That's what we're going to do. Okay, and we're going to just take one behavior at a time. I know all of you want to master your morning routine or get all of these behaviors at once. And that's okay. We're going to gain all of them, but we're just going to do them one at a time until we get good enough where it's automatic, already part of who we are. We don't have to use this grit or willpower to make ourselves do that anymore. It just happens. Yeah, I like to say we earn the just do it. It's not something that we use to get the behavior. Sure, you can on the one-off, right? Going intention to behavior, using that willpower. But if you really want to make it sustainable, then the just do it is something you have to earn by making it this automatic transition, this habit, this interaction between you and your context. That's what we're after, okay? We're going intention to behavior, to habit, to identity, again and again and again, with each behavior that we want to make become part of us. Where did I leave off? Identify who we want to become, work backward, what do we want to change? Intention, behavior, habit, identity, continue that. We understand the mechanism of change, so identify, understand, and then we plan it out, which is part action. And then after we have that actual plan, we attempt it. So identify, understand, plan, attempt. And then from there, every week, we're going to have an ongoing session as well as an automatic accountability email series, text series, whatever you kind of prefer. This is where we will assess and adapt. Okay, this is the ongoingness of all of it. Once you identify, once you understand enough, those are almost one and done type investments. So you won't have to redo those. Then what happens is this circular motion of attempting, assessing, and adapting, attempting, assessing, and adapting. Okay, that's all we're really doing at the heart of it. How do we improve our attempt and do it? Improve our attempt and do it. And as you get better and better, think about it like this. Each intention going to behavior, to habit, to identity, that's just one big rep. And if you say gain the habit of exercising and ingrain that into your identity, well then gaining the habit of meditation is going to become easier because you've gone through some of these trials and errors of, oh hey, that really works for me in the sense of moving the cue in my way, for as an example, like making sure that I'm not able to forget it, type of thing. That is a really helpful tactic for me, right? We're going to identify what these are for you. Then your next habit is going to become so much easier for you to gain that you're not going to have to do as much work. Okay. I'm at the point now where, well, one, let's be a little humble here, Chris. One, I know changing your behavior is still hard, but two, and what I think is more importantly, I'm entirely confident that I can make any behavior, barring physical reality and maybe not flying or something like that, I can make any behavior become a habit because I know how to do it for myself. I know how to change my context to facilitate that behavior, create that behavioral current, right? Think like going to the gym or being at the library. These contexts are very helpful in that they kind of push you along, guide you in doing that behavior. So I know how to create my gym or create my library wherever I need it to be. I know what mindset I need to adopt. I know how to create my cue for that specific behavior that I want to turn into a habit. Create that domino transition and freaking drill it. I'm not afraid to look weird or feel weird even. It might feel weird in the beginning, and it does kind of, but you get over that because you realize that that's really like, I used to play baseball. When you're messing up in a certain area, all you do is isolate that and then freaking drill it. Oh, keep my top hand up or whatever it is. You just drill it in isolation until it's seamless, until it's second nature. And then once you get in the habit, this is really meta. Once you get in the habit of making habits, you feel, or at least I'll speak for myself, but I feel just so capable. It's confidence based in competence, which I know sometimes we have to trick ourselves to get to the competence part so that we can actually feel confident. But it's really this based in reality, based on evidence, based on my past ability to go from intention to behavior to habit to identity. And once you have a few reps of those under your belt, the world really becomes your oyster. Again, it's tough for me sometimes to avoid these cliche type phrases, but if you're like me, you want to accomplish a lot in the world. And as much as you want to listen to Gandhi, right? If you want to make change in the world, start with yourself. As much as you want to listen to that, typically we try for the big stuff. We try out there, and then we have to come back because we realize, I can't change that until I change this. If this is my vehicle for living the way I want to, how do I change this? Right? What is the change mechanism and how can I get really good at it? If I am part programmer, how can I learn how to code myself in the way that I want to? Okay, that's, again, what I want to teach you how to do. It's not easy. It's simple on paper. It's going to take a lot of effort, right? It's going to take time. It's not this. This is where the difficulty is. Knowing something intellectually, like, say, hey, exercising is healthy, eating broccoli is healthy, whatever you want to say. Knowing that is not the same as doing that, right? There are doctors that are obese smoking cigarettes, okay? Then there are people who don't really know too much, but live a very active lifestyle and are much healthier, right? When you look at their physical health, much healthier than the doctor that knows way more. So we want to kind of be the in-between, know enough so that we can actually behave the way we intend to. We're closing the intention identity gap. This is how I get fulfilled. It's helping people have those aha moments. It's helping people find out what their process is for making this happen, the frames that they use or come upon because they've tried implementing it and go, oh, this actually resonated so much with me. Or like, I like the way you said that, but I actually tweaked it like this, Chris. Beautiful, okay? That's all I want to do is help you find your process for becoming. Then you can get rid of me as a teammate, coach, whatever you want to call it. I'm really trying to get you to the point where you don't need me at all. It's going to be different for everyone. And maybe you want to have that or have me as a kind of back pocket coach, teammate, whenever you need. That's the way I use my coaches. Kind of did it originally where we were going sequentially. And then I was like, you know what? I'm good. Let me just hit you up whenever I need you. I'm totally good with that. Okay. I don't really care what the mechanism is that you want. Whatever works for you. My coaching business is not going to be successful unless you win. Okay, so I'm not going to give up on you. If you give up on yourself, that's on you, and I can only do so much, right? I can't move your body for you. But if you're invested, you buy in, then I'm with you. Okay, I'm on your team. If you want to become who you want to be, this is at least an attempt worth trying. This is at least a strategy worth understanding, worth implementing, worth giving a go, so that you can say, hey, you know what? I might like that for 10% of my actions, or I might actually use that in 3 years when I start having kids and I really need to hone in on my behaviors and habits, whatever it might be. Okay. I think it can help most people immediately, but if you're not at that point, that's okay. Watch some of my other stuff. We've got tons of free whatever out here so that you can, I don't know, learn about me so that when you're ready to start this, you already kind of know me a little bit. And that's kind of what this whole video was, so that you can gauge who I am and what I'm trying to do. It's the whole goal of this course. It's for you to take the right action. Identifying what the right action is, taking that right action. And to me, the right action is that long-term habit-based, identity-based action. All right. So that's what we're after. If you are into that or know someone who is, click some link. Let's do it.